Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome, my friends, to me, mom, and dad. This is Thanksgiving week. We just ended Thanksgiving week, and I hope you guys had a great, awesome Thanksgiving week, a big Thanksgiving feast. This is our 23rd episode of Me, Mom, and Dad. I am Tia. My mom is Gloria. My dad is Harold. This podcast started out with us sharing to the Parkinson's community, and it grew into even more than that. We still share with the Parkinson's community, but it turned into us sharing recipes and sharing positive thoughts and keeping our heads up and pushing through kind of podcasts, positive. So later on, we will be sharing two recipes, so stay tuned. I'll be sharing our famous dressing, stuffing, since it's the holidays now. And I will share our cranberry sauce, homemade cranberry sauce. I did it this time last year, so I figure every holidays I'll keep sharing those two recipes. So stay tuned. With this Thanksgiving week, my dad, who has Parkinson's, he has had Parkinson's for about 5 years now. And praise the Lord, he's walking around, watching all kinds of football games. And I love seeing the joy in his face. And he's just walking around from room to room. He'll be watching football in the den with my mom and I. And when we get on his nerves, he will disappear and go to his recliner in his room and leave us. And I just love watching him. Most days does fantastic, which is again how we started sharing this podcast to show how you can live a fruitful life with Parkinson's. And he does that. And the key is, I repeat it every episode, the miracle is exercise, exercise, exercise. Exercise is the key, my friends. So get up and get moving. Start with walking or something. It is proven that riding a stationary bike and even a treadmill, exercising that body is how you push through the symptoms of Parkinson's. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. I have my mom on this podcast. I carry around a portable microphone. That is the best way for me to do it. So I have her in the kitchen prepping for Thanksgiving. And, well, I'll just bring her on now. My mom and dad are in their 80s, and the two of them are true examples for me and my family and friends of courage and faith. They both go to the gym. They're in their 80s. My dad is 85-ish, 85 and a half. My mom's 82. And they act like they're in their 70s, even 60s, because they've been exercising for some years. And they put me to shame. So I look at them and I'm like, Tia, you gotta move more, girl. And my mom is Gloria here. She is in the kitchen prepping. Here's my mom, my friends. We're here with my mommy. It is Thanksgiving week. She is going through some what, mommy?
I'm picking greens.
You love it. And you're going to put your foot in the greens for Thanksgiving Day.
Both feet.
Both feet. That means it's going to be so good. All the seasonings and all your smoked meats in the greens.
Yeah.
I'll eat string beans, which your foot will be in that too.
Oh, yeah, they're already done.
And you'll be doing sweet potato casserole.
Yes.
Oh, no, you do that Christmas.
Candied sweet potatoes.
Candy sweet potatoes. And what else you doing?
Corn pudding.
Corn pudding for her grandkids. I don't eat that. But it looks good. and a red velvet cake, your famous dressing or stuffing. Today we get a treat of a lemon cake. You can't wait, Gram?
Can't wait. Just watch you all eat it.
Watch it. You gonna eat some too, right?
I can't eat too much.
Oh, that's right. For some reason, Mrs. T has some acid reflux, the doctor says, and everything jacks her up. But you are thankful.
That I'm here.
Taking care of your husband, Mr. T. Praise the Lord. With his Parkinson's, he is still walking around ornery as ever, which we wouldn't trade for the world.
Feisty and all.
Feisty and all, and you feisty too. She won't sit down in between her dishes, making her dishes to rest her legs. Say goodbye to the folks.
Bye-bye.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
To all. There she is, Mrs. T, folks call her. I call her Mom. Doing some Thanksgiving preparations. How my dad, we keep him positive. One of the symptoms of Parkinson's can be depression. So we decided years ago as a family and friends to just gather around more. So my brother and sister and the grandkids and friends too come more for my dad to keep his spirits up. So we had lots of family and friends here for Thanksgiving Day, and he loves it. One of my dear adopted brothers, I had him on one of our episodes earlier. This time last year he was here. He's here for Thanksgiving again, Antonio, and we keep that depression thing away because we just stay around my dad and absorb him with lots of love and joy. And I hope you guys do the same. Lots of family and friends in the kitchen, shooting the breeze. And December is upon us, the holidays, and we will do the same with my brother and sister, and now where everybody's coming up with Friendsgiving, and we have that too mixed with family, and we're so excited. And we'll be prepping for the holidays. I hope that you guys do the same thing. To my Parkinson's community friends, I'd like to go over my dad's daily routine quickly. I have mentioned some episodes back that we give my dad, in the morning he does have a multiple vitamin chewy, because Parkinson's can bring on fatigue if you're not careful. And the vitamin chewy does really well for him. I used to put electrolyte drops in his fruit cups in the morning, or even at lunch, fruit cups. But I stopped with the electrolyte drops because the medication for Parkinson's, everybody in the Parkinson's community is aware of cortidopa levodopa. We call it the yellow pill. And the yellow pill is the boss. It does not want, I find with my dad, and doctors seem to say the same thing, let it absorb on its own. For example, my dad will have his first yellow pill at 6 a.m. We let it absorb by itself for at least 2 hours. For 2 hours we do that. He eats nothing until 8 o'clock as 8:30. He'll eat his breakfast, and it's just a light fruit. We found out that the yellow pill does not like protein. So for breakfast mainly, we try to do less protein. If there is like a oatmeal bar that I give him, is 1 gram of protein. I even cut that in half so he can have half protein. And I stopped with the electrolyte drops because it was making him have it. The yellow pill didn't enjoy it. He was having tremors and what we call wobbly legs. And now that I stopped with the electrolyte drops, he is doing great in the mornings, especially. And I was giving him electrolyte drops for lunch, and he had tremors. The yellow pill, it interfered. It seemed. And this is just with observing him. And so with hydration problems, I just give him Powerade. The yellow pill seems to, it doesn't mind Powerade. So I stopped with the electrolyte drops. Okay. Um, Lunch and dinner, he'll have protein or regular. I don't really pay too much attention with lowering low doses of protein because he's got to have some. Lunch and dinner seems to be okay at the moment with him having less tremors. The key again is letting the yellow pill, quarter dopa, levodopa, let it be by itself. So if he has a 6 a.m. yellow pill, his next pill, we let him eat breakfast and we let that food digest. So his next yellow pill is at 11 o'clock. And he will not eat for 2 hours, at least an hour and a half. But we do 2 hours so it can really absorb. And then he tends to have less tremors, wobbly legs with doing it that way. I I like to share as much information with the Parkinson's community of how my dad lives a fruitful life with Parkinson's. Um, and again, I sound like a broken record. Exercise is the key. We see that in him, which encourages me, Tia, to exercise because I see, man, he and my mom live look so good, and he because of exercise he's doing so well, so it encourages me to exercise even more. So I have the Apple Watch on, clocking my steps and making sure I get my lazy bones up too. Exercise is key, and letting that yellow pill absorb by itself. um, and keeping the faith and the joy. As I said, family and friends coming around, and it keeps us not being lonely and always laughing and shooting the breeze. My brother and sister will be here in December. I will pull the microphone out because they are a hoot. My family is a hoot, and my dad jumps in there and shoots the breeze and playing jokes on one another, and I'll capture all those moments. How about I share our first recipe? Stuffing. It is so easy and good. So you want to go to the store and get that bag of Stouffer's. We use Stouffer's. You can make your own stuffing with, you know, stale bread. And but go get. We use the Stouffer's herbs stuffing in the bag, and you want to get a Jimmy Dean sausage. You can get any kind of sage sausage, but we use Jimmy Dean's. And you want to have onions, celery, chicken stock, about a cup of chicken stock. Have 2 cups just in case, and butter. So you have your bag of stuffing, and they're making these bags smaller. My mom and I noticed the bag is smaller this year. What's up with that? Um, so depending on the size of your casserole dish, if you use um, the small casserole dish, but we're using the twice that size aluminum pan, then you might need to get 2 bags of stuffing because the bags were so small this year. So that I don't know the sizes. 8 by 10 is a casserole dish, so 2 sizes of that. Um, Pour your stuff. Spray your pan with some pan spray, or however you're oiling your pan with a butter. But we use some pan spray. And in a sauteed pan, you want to put some olive oil in there. Oh no, sorry. You want to take your stick of butter and put that in your pan. I like using a cast iron pan, but my mom used a big uh, sauteed pan. Put your stick of butter and let it melt. Once the butter is melted down, if you don't want that much butter, then that's fine. Cut it in, but at least a stick of butter because you're going to put your onions in there, your celery in the butter, and let your onions and your celery get soft. You'll see them get soft. They don't really need to be brown, just get soft and sauteing those up. And then you're going to put your sausage in there and the onions and the celery. Let the sausage get brown. You have poured your stuffing in the pan that you have sprayed. Put your put your layers of stuffing breading, your bread stuffing in the pan. Once your onions and celery is softened with that butter, pour and your sausage and onions and celery, pour all of that mixture on top of the pour in the pan on top of your stuffing. Mix that all up a bit. Then take a cup of your chicken stock and pour on top of all this stuffing mixture. You might, depending on the size of your pan, you might need 2 cups or a cup and a half of chicken stock. You will see the bread start to soak up the liquid. I mean, you don't want it floating around. If you see, you start with a cup, and if you feel you need more chicken stock, you'll kind of know. And you put it in the oven on 350. And it's delicious for 35-ish minutes. My mom always says, she always asks, do you want the stuffing crunchy? Then you leave it in. Once you check it after 35 minutes, you'll see the breading kind of crunchy, if that's how you like it. If you like it more moist, when you check it after 30 minutes, if you like the stuffing, oh, I apologize. You know what that is, my friends? I mentioned this before, that my mom and I have alarms on our phone. I'll get back to the stuffing. And this is the 11 o'clock pill, because when we're out, we're living our lives. When my dad first got diagnosed, we couldn't keep up with the medication, the cortidopa, levodopa. And it is vital to his life. If he does not have that medication, he will literally fall to the ground. Those of you with Parkinson's totally understand what I'm saying. So that was the 11 o'clock alarm. And I forget to turn it off. And I kind of don't want to turn it off, because when I turn those alarms off, then I forget to turn it back on. If I'm out with my dad by myself, then it will go off. And we even keep yellow pills in the car, everywhere. So my mom is downstairs. Her alarm will go off at 11, and he'll get his pill. So that's what that was. Back to the stuffing. After 30 minutes, if you like it more moist, then take it out. But if you like it crunchy, after 35 minutes, check it. And if it's still moist and you want it more crunchy, then leave it in the oven a little more. Cranberry sauce. We stopped using a can years ago. You're a little girl, we were using it, but when you taste homemade cranberry sauce, it is so good. So you go get your bag of cranberries in the market. So the recipe is on the bag. But, of course, you want to pour them in a bowl and rinse them off. On the bag it says 1 cup of water. And so you put 1 cup of water in a saucepan. You want kind of a tall saucepan, because the cranberries will be popping. And you turn your burner on, your oven on like medium heat. Pour your cranberries in this 1 cup of water. And after about 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to hear pop, 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 pop. That's your cranberries popping, and that's good. They'll be popping, popping. That's why you want a tall saucepan. And you're going to have, the recipe says 1 cup of sugar. Okay, my friends? If you want to use 1 cup, that's fine. Some people like their cranberry sauce to be tart. But from experience, all my friends and family who come to our house for the holidays, they are fighting over our cranberry sauce. because we use more than 1 cup of sugar. If you want to use 1 cup, that's fine. I use wink, wink, wink. I'm not going to lie to you, my friends. I use about 3 cups of sugar. That's the magic. That's the magic. That's the magic measuring. Again, if you like to use 1 cup, now tasting this because it's going to be very hot. So if you taste this, take a spoon and take some out, then you put it on a plate. You must let that cool because it's very hot. It'll burn you up. I use 3 cups of sugar. You could start with 2 cups, 2.5, but I've 3 cups. So once the cranberries start popping, pop, 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 that's when you start adding your sugar. So you add the 1 cup and you're stirring the whole time. I apologize for that. You're stirring the whole. That was my buddy Antonio. Who I was telling you about. You heard him on one of the episodes. He just is leaving to go back home, and he was saying he's almost home. Anyway, you pour in 1 cup of sugar, and you're stirring, stirring. Then you put your 2nd cup. After the popping, you hear a lot of popping. You look in there, you'll see most of the cranberries. You stirring while you're pouring the sugar. Then your 3rd cup of sugar. You're stirring, stirring, stirring. It's on medium heat. And you'll see the cranberry sauce starting to get thick as the minutes go by. About 5, 8 minutes. Keep stirring after your 3rd cup of sugar or your 1 cup. Wink, wink. Keep stirring and stirring, and you'll see it get thick. Now, it's not going to be thick like a thick mashed potatoes, but you'll see it getting a bit thicker. And after you've added all your cups of sugar, stir a little bit more and take it off the heat. It'll be like a little bit thicker than it was, but it'll still be a little bit runny, the cranberry sauce. And you let it sit because it's really hot. And once it has cooled down, my mom and I will pour after it really has cooled because it's really hot. You can get burnt if it splashes. And you pour in your bowl or your big jar that you're going to keep it in and put it in the refrigerator. And that's your cranberry sauce. It's delicious, homemade. And later on, maybe the next episode, last year I shared our famous red velvet cake. And perhaps I will do that again for you guys. I hope you guys keep the faith all the time. My dad is a retired reverend, and he always says to us, nothing is too big for God. So whatever you're going through, keep the faith. And my dad always says, get out the Lord's way. And he's the one fighting every day. Parkinson's, whenever he has like a wobbly legs kind of day because of whatever. Most days he does a wonderful job of living a fruitful life. But there is a day or two where he, has had a fall here or there. He has wobbly legs. And he continues to trust in the Lord. And he has taught us that as a family and friends as well. And I pray that you guys hang in there and keep the faith. And please subscribe. Please subscribe to our podcast. I'm trying to get better and better at podcasting. And when you're on this page, you look up at the icons up there. And the Wi-Fi looking icon, that is where you click to subscribe. And every time I do a new podcast, if you subscribe, it will send you an alert that I've done a new one. Exercise is the key, my friends. If you have Parkinson's, and with anything in life, exercise is the key. They've always told us, but with exercise, you can live a fruitful life if we get our butts up and start small and exercise. My dad is a witness to that fact. And holidays are coming up. Please keep the faith and joy. Find some loved ones and friends to be around to keep the joy and happiness. Thank you, my friends, for enjoying this podcast. And please enjoy the music.